Welcome, everybody, to today's broadcast, and stand by. Breaking news is on the way, plus a full day of news, interviews, weather, and lots more on NEA Report. It's Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. Tonight's rundown begins with breaking news and a kidnapping in Trumann that stemmed from a drug deal gone wrong. We're interviewing the chief of police coming up on NEA Report, and we're going to find out more about this and more about what in general causes people to become so crazy. A bad arrest in the Forest City officer's death in West Memphis, followed up less than 2 hours later by the announcement that the wrong suspect, at least in terms of the murder, had been arrested. The full details and what the suspect is being charged with anyway. Next. Plus, the Sun says that in a report, a man is alleged to have stabbed a baby. We'll tell you about that. Also, remember the Emerald Triangle story yesterday and how that they offended some people with their term of usage of the F word? Well, an interview with the minds behind that is on the way, and thunderstorms also on the way this week. That's all next on NEA Report. We begin the broadcast tonight with breaking news and a kidnapping reported in Trumann stemming from a drug deal gone bad. Authorities saying that it happened at 7:30 p.m. Monday night at the Cedar Park in Trumann. The report is that one female was kidnapped at gunpoint by a white male and white female in a white Altima. Hours later, suspects Amanda Tippett and Danny Brown were reported to have returned the victim back home. That's when law enforcement was waiting on them, and law enforcement said that they placed the two in custody at that time. It stemmed, according to Trumann Police Department, from a drug deal gone bad. Brown and Tippett now facing serious charges, felonies including kidnapping, aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, obstructing governmental operations, possession of a firearm by certain persons, and terroristic threatening. The last four the last, I think, 4 charges I mentioned to you there are misdemeanors. Those two in custody at this hour. We had a chance to talk to the Trumann police chief just a short time before we began the broadcast. Let's tell you what he said.
About an hour or so after the kidnapping and the abduction, the two primary suspects were taken into custody as they were attempting to drop one of the victims off at her home. So officers were still in the area and noticed the vehicle, which matched the vehicle description of the Polo, and were able to take the suspects into custody without incident.
It's a crazy release. I'm going through here and reading about this. It said the victim pled with the co-conspirators or with the individuals, the suspects, to try to get the person to try to get them to release them. I can't imagine there being some type of regular instructions, but what do you do if you find yourself the victim of a kidnapping? What is the best, what are your choices or your best chances to get away safe at that point?
Well, let me make it abundantly clear on this case. This isn't just a typical kidnapping where someone is standing on a sidewalk and gets kidnapped for absolutely no reason. There was a reason within this, if you will. It's a reason that is stupid, but these two people that decided to take these two people with them had given them money for hydrocodone, for opioids. So it's just another conversation what we're having with our opioid crisis is where people need this so bad that they're willing to give someone else money to go get them drugs, and when that doesn't work out, they literally take them and try to hurt them. So that's why I'm calling them co-conspirators. This girl felt remorseful, felt bad. She pleaded with these two people for them not to hurt her or harm her, as probably with anybody else that was in that situation. So this is not a story that I would give advice to someone that, hey, here's what you do if you're kidnapped, because once again, a violent crime has happened where two suspects know one another, and that is where a vast majority of all violent crime comes from, especially in Arkansas, where the victim and the suspect know one another. They're either in a deal together, they're either in a relationship together, or they're just not getting along. Your chances of being kidnapped or robbed or murdered just out of coincidence, just out of bad luck, is so rare that it's not. And you remain in a good area, and you go about your day, a typical day, your chances of being assaulted or part of a violent crime are just almost non-existent.
So many of these cases, as you aptly said there, are involving previous relationships gone south, and you took a moment to mention the opioid crisis. In a broader sense, do we see the withdrawals from the opioid addictions or the medication? Does that make people more desperate or more unreasonable?
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. The withdrawal from an opioid is the same thing. It's heroin. The withdrawal from this is far superior to a meth withdrawal, cocaine withdrawal, or even a caffeine withdrawal. I mean, these people are literally overdosing themselves within the first few pills, and the body must have this tolerance built. This continual use of this drug, and they will go to any means to get this drug. And if it is in your medicine cabinet, if it is in your car, or if it is in your grocery store or your pharmacy, they will use any means necessary to get that drug. And that's why we have a pill drop-off at our department. If you have these unusable pills, please drop them off at any green box at any police department or jail that you can find to get them out of your house. Therefore, you won't be a victim. If they're in your purse, get them out. It's carrying opioids on you or having them in your car is just as responsible as having a loaded gun. That's how big of an epidemic we are facing. And I have been screaming and screaming for 2 or 3 years trying to get people to listen to me. And now we are facing the storm. And if people don't realize how big of a storm we are and listen to these broadcasts that we're doing, these lawsuits that we're doing, this epidemic will do nothing but get worse.
And we're seeing the desperation and the effects that come from those withdrawal symptoms and the effects on the community in the worst form. Sir, thank you for taking a few moments to talk with us and inform us about what happened.
No problem.
The case of the murdered Forest City officer from over the weekend continued to develop today with an arrest this morning of the man thought to be responsible. It was reported at about 10:30 a.m. that West Memphis Police Department had told media they arrested the man who killed the officer, Oliver Johnson, of Forest City Police Department. But it was less than 2 hours later that the West Memphis Police Department told the media that the suspect, Bobby Patterson, was no longer a suspect, at least in that case. He was no longer being charged with murder and reportedly had an alibi that was enough to at least make police confident in clearing him just 2 hours after they had apprehended him. However, still facing a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm is Patterson. Now, the suspected murderer, which is obviously the most important element of this case, is still thought to be on the loose. And he's still being sought by, he or she, still being sought by West Memphis Police Department. Officer Johnson, as we've continued to follow this story, father of 2 girls. WMC-TV in Memphis reported one of the girls, 2 years old, one just graduated kindergarten. and both were in the apartment whenever the officer was killed. Police believe that he was not the intended target. They think this was an act of violence that he was an innocent bystander in, but police insurance will not cover Johnson because he was not involved in police activities at the time and was not on duty. Another tragic element to this case, and a family left reeling as the entire community of law enforcement across Northeast Arkansas and all of NEA in general mourning the loss of Officer Johnson. If you have any information that could assist authorities in bringing forth the person responsible or persons responsible, we urge you, please reach out to your local law enforcement agency. Now, a shocking story from the front page of the Jonesboro Sun, where a baby was reportedly stabbed by the father during a domestic dispute. That's what the headline on today's Jonesboro Sun story said. It's a front page story below the fold today by Stephen Simpson. Good reporting from the courtroom, where he reported that Theodis Coleman, 37, was now being charged with a number of charges, battery charges, endangering the welfare of a minor. It stemmed from an incident at the 1900 block of East Johnson Avenue. Coleman is alleged to have taken a steak knife while the police were there. Police there watching as the mother was going to get the child during this civil standby when authorities assist. Well, they are saying that they witnessed Coleman grab a steak knife, lunge toward the mother with it in a stabbing motion, and the knife actually penetrated the arm of the baby and went into the mother's arm. It says in this report by Simpson that Officer Blaine Middlecoff used to stop the bleeding trauma kit to help and maybe even save the life of the child. That's why those are so important for police to have. Authorities are often responsible for saving lives while on the scene. They drew their weapons, and of course, thankfully, they were able to apprehend the man without any further injuries or violence, but still a terrifying situation that you really have a hard time fathoming, to see the man alleged to have stabbed a child that is believed to have been his own, according to the report. An image we shared yesterday on NEA Report going viral today as a truck crashed into Ma and Pa's flea market in Hoxie. It's a flea market that's probably one of the more well-known ones across Northeast Arkansas, and it actually made a pretty well-publicized move from Walnut Ridge to Hoxie in what seems like the last year or two. But now, the side of the building, not even the entrance, but the side of the building, now a hole in it where a truck somehow crashed into it. You can see in this photo, it's a little bit blurry, but you guys can see the behind the blue police vehicle, how that the truck has dented in, created an almost impromptu door. It looks like it's driving into a garage door, but that was not a garage door. It's right there by the side on what was formerly a building that housed a grocery store, and after many years of trying to find another grocery tenant to come in, Ma and Pa's Flea Market took over the lease from the city of Hoxie. We're not sure exactly what caused that or if there are any injuries in the case. Of course, hopeful that everybody is okay, and a lot of folks scratching their heads wondering how that could have happened, just considering the trajectory of the roads nearby and the fact that the vehicle should not have been aimed at that side of the building unless it was parking there. My only speculative guess, and it is total speculation, would be maybe somebody parked there and accidentally put the vehicle in drive instead of reverse. It's time now for a look at your New Wave Wireless forecast, home with a $49 iPhone screen repair. So this graphic over here to the left of me is going to look a little bit funky, but let me explain. You can see what would be green, but thanks to the key feature we have here in our software, it's kind of made that transparent. You see the background. Now, that area that would include Paragould and Jonesboro is what the Weather Service says has the biggest chance, which is still a pretty small chance, for there to be some strong to severe storms on Thursday. It's actually tomorrow night that the possibility for some of that stuff begins to roll through Northeast Arkansas. We'll show you that now in your 5-day forecast, courtesy of New Wave, home of that $49 iPhone screen repair. They give me great service, and they're a great supporter of local businesses, too. Tonight, mostly clear and a low down to 64. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high near 63. high near 83. And it's Wednesday night that a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms starts to roll in mainly after 1 a.m. So technically super early Thursday morning. Thursday, a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. We have a little thunderstorm cloud in there. Doesn't mean it's always going to be thunderstormy. Could just be a lot of showers with an occasional thunderstorm popping up too, but it's still there. The high on Thursday, 82, the low down to 68, and a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms continues into the evening hours, too. The wind is also going to be nasty on Thursday. On Friday, the wind not so bad, and a slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms will hang around for Friday and into Friday night. It's a small chance, but it's there, mostly cloudy otherwise, and a high near 80, a low of 59. By the time Saturday rolls around, mostly sunny, and that's what the Weather Service is saying for the weekend, for Sunday and Monday too, either sunny or mostly sunny skies, and the high is set to be right around 79 all throughout Monday. So great news as far as that goes. We'll be watching the weather for Thursday and Friday, especially in the early morning Thursday hours and all the way into the late Thursday hours, so that if there is any severe weather, NEA report, we always break in and do wall-to-wall severe weather coverage until the stuff is out of here. So you can count on us for that. Right now, it's 80 degrees with fair skies in Jonesboro. So coming up after the break, a story we first told you about yesterday, where a business in Brooklyn put the word, or something pretty close to the word, the F word, on their window, and it said F, breast cancer. But that was up there for just a few minutes before they got a complaint about it. And we're going to talk to them about how that all went down, the support that they've received, what the complaint was like, and everything. It's going to be an interview that you don't want to miss, and that's next on NEA Report.
There's a new home on television for local news in Northeast Arkansas. NEA Report is coming to Ritter Communications Tubetown Channel 21. Beginning June 1st, get your first look at local news on Tubetown with NEA Report's Stan Morris Reporting. Every weekday at 4 p.m., Stan Morris Reporting covers local news stories and weather from around Northeast Arkansas. Beginning June 1st, local news comes to Ritter Communications Tubetown Channel 21 with NEA Report's Stan Morris Reporting.
Haley Norris, Realtor. Should I make my hair go like this? Whether you need to buy, sell, or lease. Haley, can I use my hands? Or is that, where are my hands? Where do they go?
Just
Haley.
Just say Haley.
Whether you need my expertise. Haley Norris, Realtor. Or even do a commercial lease. Haley Norris, Realtor. Should I say Remax Real Estate Center or no? Is that too salesy?
No, that's good.
My average days on market is just 50 days. You need my expertise. And that means I'm putting more money back in your pocket.
What a great day it is in Craighead County. You know, we got a very important election coming up, May 22nd. You'll get to choose your new judge. I hope and pray that you look at the issues at hand. This is a very, very important election. This will be the first 4-year term for your county judge. We're facing many, many issues, from school safety to road safety to drainage. We have plans in place. I'm coming in with a strong team of people with boots on the ground. We're going to make this a better Craighead County. We're going to be open and transparent. This is your office. It's always going to be an open door policy. And you know, I'm happy to announce I've got a team of volunteers. It's going to be called the Craighead County Green Team. We're going to clean up the ditches and roadways in Craighead County. With the resources that we have on hand, you're not going to see illegal dump sites and things like that. We're going to be proactive. We're going to make this a better Craighead County. My name is Jeff Presley, and I approve this message.
Brothers Flooring on Highway 67 South in Pocahontas has all your flooring covered. Stop by our showroom Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and see all we have. Carpet with pad and install starting at $16.50 a square yard. Laminate with pad installed starting at just $3.25 a square foot. Every name brand of engineered and solid hardwood from $5 a square foot and up. Waterproof vinyl planks, wood look and tile look, attached cork pack starting at $3.49 a square foot installed. Ceramic and porcelain tile of all sizes and all colors. We build custom tiled showers from the floor up shelves and benches, tub surrounds, kitchen backsplashes like no other. Brothers Flooring, Highway 67 North in Pocahontas. Call today, 870-892-2525.
Yesterday, we told you about a story out of Brooklyn where the F word had offended some, but it was probably not in the traditional sense. See, it's a company called Emerald's Triangle that was participating in breast cancer awareness. And specifically, they included on their windows a sign that said F, breast cancer is the F word, right? And it got a lot of attention. And most of it was good, according to some of the posts on social media and a lot of the feedback that came afterwards. In fact, I think I can pull that up and show you guys the exact sign right there. But it wasn't all positive, mostly positive, but not all positive, because, well, somebody was worried that there could be offended children, and you can't have that. On the phone with us right now to talk a little bit more about this, and we just actually had the full screen up, is Zach Slater. He's the Chief Administrative Officer and the Executive Co-owner of Emerald's Triangle, and he also wrote the blog post that over last check, several hundred had shared, maybe up to 1,000 or so more now, that kind of spoke a little bit about this, and they said, and it says, yeah, we said it, and think 99% would agree. Zach, thanks for taking a second to talk to us this afternoon. Appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So I think that most would agree with this sentiment of F, breast cancer, or F, any kind of cancer. You guys took it and put it on the window. Can you tell us, as you've made the decision to put that out there, are you thinking to yourself, how long is this going to be up before someone gets mad?
Sure, we had concerns, thinking it over, and throughout Emerald's history, we've always done things a little on the extreme side, admittedly. But the sentiment is really heartfelt for us. I lost my dad last year from pancreatic cancer, and have, several friends and other family members who have lost close relatives and, close friends as well from cancer. So, it really draws close to us, and we are heartfelt when we say F cancer.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, that's not just, you're not the first person I've ever seen write that, although I'll give you, we want to give you points for creativity, but we don't want people to think that you just invented this idea of putting this word in front of cancer and going with it, because I've seen a lot of folks out there say it before, young and old, all ages. But here in Northeast Arkansas, I would say that you're probably the first business to put it up there, put it out front. And Did when you did that, did it get a lot of attention on either way?
Within about 10 minutes, we did get a call. I won't mention the party that did give us a call, but we were asked to take it down in consideration for the property we were leasing downtown. And we did understand, and we also understand some of the concerns that people had with, children and profanity and things like that. It wasn't that we were trying to be vulgar so much as to get across our passion that we have for our disdain of cancer.
So within about 10 minutes, you say, you got called?
Yes, within about 10 minutes, right about 10 minutes.
That's pretty impressive. I was going to think it might have taken a few hours at least. So somebody saw that and sprung into action pretty much instantly, I guess we would say.
Right, yes. Somebody, as to who, I don't know who exactly called in. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, worked its way down the chain and made it back to us, and they were polite about it, and we were polite about taking it down, and they understood where we were at, and we understood where they were at. Like I said, it wasn't a shove in people's faces. It was just, this hits home for us, and we're very passionate about it.
There's nothing wrong, I don't think, with that passion, and I don't think there's, for that matter, anything personally wrong with the sentiment. I think I get it. I mean, it's a word that has been stigmatized, and it gets a lot of negative attention. But the idea behind basically screw breast cancer, if you will, I agree with it, and I think most people would agree with it. I think it's an interesting debate to bring up. That the F word might have offended some people out of this, because I think that's an interesting sign of the times that a lot of people weren't. Did you get a lot of support from, because I noticed some of the posts and a lot of the shares, it seemed like a lot of people thought it was positive.
Yeah, I mean, we were right on the money. 99% of everybody that shared or interacted or commented on us doing this was in fact in support.
Wow. So it ended up being, I mean, a positive in that regard. Just looking at the post, I mean, I saw 542 shares on Facebook, which is always great for a blog post to be able to get in front of that many people. Have you put any other kind of sign back up, or is there nothing in its place now?
There's nothing in its place now, but what we do have planned, we are going to have T-shirts and some merchandise with the slogan on it.
Oh.
We're going to sell them from our shop, and all the proceeds part will go to Shaman's Reach to pay for products so we can get that product out to some local cancer patients free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll also donate a portion of those proceeds to a cancer charity that we find suitable.
You know, I made the point yesterday on the show, and I'm going to bring it up again. I could argue the case you didn't really spell the F word. I mean, you put a breast cancer ribbon sideways, and then you put FU in front of that. So, I know you guys didn't nitpick about it or anything like that, but you sort of didn't put the word on there, right?
Technically, no, we did not. I mean, you can tell what our intention was, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we didn't just explicitly write the full word outright. Matter of fact, the ribbon part is still there. Just the FU in front of it is no longer there.
I gotcha. So it's those first two letters that we got to watch out for.
Right.
Of course, you could actually abbreviate something vulgar out of those first two letters as well, and say that too. There's a lot of words, I guess, but I won't get into all those. I learned them in kindergarten, and I think that's what's weird is, and I'm not exaggerating, and I know I do this all the time on my show, to where I just kind of go off on these little things, but I knew every word in the book when I was in kindergarten, and I think you probably did too, right? I mean, didn't we all? That's what South Park was based on. I remember Trey Parker and Matt Stone saying in an interview that they did the show based around third or fourth graders, whatever it is now, because that's really how they perceive third or fourth graders speaking. And I don't think it's very far off, whether we like it or not.
I have to agree. People may not want to admit it. It may be one of those harsh realities, but this is society, and kids are exposed to that society, and whether you want to or not, kids will pick up on things. That's the nature of a child.
Well, I think that, one thing that you definitely succeeded in doing is getting a lot of attention for the right reasons. And obviously, for something that mattered a lot to you, I think it couldn't galvanize that importance anymore. Just from my perspective, especially hearing about how that cancer has affected you in your life, and others knowing how that it's affected them. To me, I see it as an admirable effort, and you did say that you've got some shirts coming. Is that right?
That is correct. We'll have shirts and some other merchandise. We're kind of in a design phase as to which direction we want to go with it. But yes, that's coming soon.
I know that I'm going to have to get one of these shirts. I mean, maybe that's making me part of the story, and I'm not supposed to do that, but this isn't exactly politics, so maybe I'll get by with it once. But, I would totally wear one of those hats somewhere. Of course.
Hey. We would appreciate the support.
I'd love to. I think it's I think what you're doing is this, when you do sell these, are you going to donate some element of it to charity? I mean, you may have said that.
100% outside of the cost. So our profit on everything that we sell with the slogan on it will be donated. Whether it be to Shaman's Reach to afford the CBD products to cancer patients locally, or to a nonprofit, maybe the Cancer Research Institute. We have a couple options to look at there.
So your business, and for those who don't know what Emerald's Triangle is, your business, it exists in large part to assist cancer patients and others, right?
Yes, we released Shaman's Reach, which not just for cancer patients, but there's been some research to show that CBD is very beneficial. That's pretty much all I'm allowed to say. There's research to back that. For cancer patients and cannabis in general, but since we're not quite there yet in the process with Arkansas, we can use CBD. So that's what we have done.
Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us. Didn't mean to keep you on the phone this long, but I'm glad that you were so cool to stay on with us, and I hope that you'll let us know whenever those shirts come out, because I'm guessing there's going to be at least one or two people willing to wear the F Cancer shirt. So, thank you, sir.
Well, me and you makes two, and if that's the case, I'm fine with that too.
Awesome. We appreciate you, and thank you very much, and thank you for trying to raise awareness, no matter how it turns out, which it looks to be positive. But everything, hey, if you're successful, if you make 99% of people happy, 1% still going to sound the loudest if they're complaining about stuff. So,
I agree.
But thank you, sir. We appreciate your time and appreciate your efforts, too.
Thank you, Stan. Y'all have a good day.
It's the bottom of the hour. Let's update you now on the top of the news on NEA Report before we head out the door today. A Truman kidnapping ended in 2 people arrested. It stemmed from a drug deal, according to the Truman police chief, who said that 2 individuals were arrested and facing a number of charges. It happened in the Cedar Park apartments. A bad arrest was made in the Forest City officer's death by the West Memphis Police Department. They thought they had the suspected murderer in custody at 10:30 a.m., but by 12:15 this afternoon, we learned that the suspect had an alibi, although he's still facing a charge for being a felon in possession of a firearm. And the Jonesboro Sun says that a father, is alleged to have stabbed his own child. He was in court yesterday facing a number of felony charges. The officer, Blaine Middlecoff, used to stop the bleeding trauma kit to help save the baby during the wild incident. That's what we've got for you today on NEA Report. Thank you so very much for joining us. We will be back tomorrow with more news from Northeast Arkansas, or if breaking news breaks out, as always, NEA Report will break in. I want to thank everybody for all of the big reaction that you've all given us to the big announcement that we're going to be on cable that we made yesterday. If you haven't even heard the news until now, well, you got to go back and check it out. The announcement that we posted, NEA Report debuting on June 1st on Ritter Cable, something we're all very excited about around here. I'm Stan Morris. Now you're up to date.